You won the DV lottery. Congratulations, that's fantastic news. Now let's talk about what you actually won and what you'll have to do to get it. Okay, well, firstly, congratulations on winning the DV lottery. That's fantastic news for you, and it really will be a change in your life in many ways. It can't be overstated. So, what have you won? A lot of people I've noticed in the past don't even quite realize what the green card really is. Let's talk about that. The green card is a plastic physical card that you're given. But really the importance of it is that it shows that you're an LPR, which is a lawful permanent resident of the United States. As an LPR, you're free to live in the USA, to come and go as you please. You go through the same lines as US citizens, etc. at the airports. You can work anywhere you want, you can live anywhere you want, there's no restrictions for you, and it's much different to a visa. My dog wants to talk to us about it. It's different to a visa. It's not a visa. It's really a confirmation that you have the right to live and work in the USA wherever. It's a permanent situation. It's not for a period of time. The plastic green card itself expires after 10 years, but your status doesn't expire. Only the card, in the same way that a driving license may expire. So it's a pretty big deal. Now you have almost identical rights to a US citizen. You can't vote in the national elections and local elections, etc. You should not vote. That's a very serious offence, actually. But you have the same rights and responsibilities as a US citizen in almost every other way. Because of the responsibilities, which include filing tax reports and that sort of thing on income earned in the US or outside in other countries, I would not suggest that anybody looks at the green card as some sort of super visa. It really is, a green card is really for people that want to live and to be in the US. And it's fine that once you've won the green card, etc., once you have the green card, it's fine that maybe you spend some time abroad. It's fine that you take some time to sort of fully travel to the USA and relocate your life into the USA, but it is intended for people that want to live in the USA. And so I wouldn't suggest anybody takes it if what they're really looking for is some sort of enhanced visa to come and go, but actually to live outside of the USA. That wouldn't make sense, and it would bring on you some responsibilities of being an LPR that you wouldn't want. Okay? So with that being said, and I'm sorry, my dog will be involved in this video all the way through, probably because she's crazy for the ball. So what will the process be like now that you've been selected? Well, first of all, you've been selected for further processing. You're not guaranteed the green card at this point. You have to go through a processing process. You have to meet certain requirements. You have to follow the process, and some people actually don't get their green cards at the end of all this. They either fail to prove that they can meet the requirements, or they make some sort of mistake along the way as they're processing, or for various reasons they find that they're not able to get the green card. So I will be explaining some of those pitfalls and hopefully, you know, making sure that you avoid those complications. There is a timeline to all of this. Simply because you've got the selected letter today, let's say, you can't move to America tomorrow. It's not that quick and simple. It takes time. It is by far the easiest way to get a green card. It's probably the cheapest way to get a green card as well. And for a lot of people there is no other way of getting the green card, so this is the only option. But but it's going to take time, and a large part of the time it will take will depend on your case number. So in your letter that says you've been selected, in that letter it gives you a case number. The case number will start with 2021, then it'll have 2 characters for the region, AF for Africa, EU for the European region, AS for Asia, and so on. The 2 characters and then a case number. The case number has several zeros in front of it, and then eventually the actual number. That number, the whole thing, is called your diversity lottery case number. It's also a ranking number. So each region starts from 1, so there can be AS1, EU1, AF1, OC1, etc. Each region starts from 1, and within your region you're ranked. The first number, the lowest number, number 1 is the first, would be the first in line to be interviewed if they want to be interviewed. And there is a progression that goes through, it changes each year what the highest numbers are, and each region will be different. Each region will have its own range, but there is a progression through to the higher numbers, and so higher numbers will be interviewed later in the year, and the very highest numbers have some risk of never being interviewed. So there is, the case number itself is extremely important. We don't know for some time, we won't know for some time how many people have been selected. There's so much wind here today, it's amazing. Quite unlike normal California weather. But so we don't know yet how many people have been selected in the lottery, and therefore we don't know the highest case numbers. And the case numbers are not all used. So there may be a case number AS1, there may be a case number AS2, but there may not be a case number AS3 or AS4, and then it might skip a couple of numbers and go on. The numbers are not consecutive in every region. There are some gaps or holes, as I call them, and I've written articles, many articles and many explanations as to why there are holes like that. But if the numbers are from, in your region, from 1 to 20,000, it doesn't mean that there are 20,000 people or 20,000 cases. There would be less cases than that because of the holes in between the numbers, because of the gaps. So the ranking is important, as I said. The ranking number is important. It shows roughly when you're going to get interviewed, or what your chances for being interviewed will be, because of the ranking order, and it's a first come first served basis on the ranking number. It's not based on how quickly you go through the process in terms of filling in the form online. That's not quite so important. So there is no need to rush for many of you to go fill out the DS260 online. Your case number, if your case number is high, you're going to have to wait anyway. Okay, in terms of the rest of the processing things that you need to know, there are sort of several phases. Here, at a very high level, here are the phases that you're going to go through. The first thing you should do is learn about whether you meet the requirements for the DV lottery process or not. Whether you meet the education requirements, whether you have followed the process correctly up until this point, etc. Those things are very important to confirm prior to starting your process. Once you're fully sure that you meet the requirements, all the requirements, and you haven't messed up your application so far in your original entry, then you can fill out online a DS260. I have a guide on my blog which provides information about how to fill out the DS260 step by step. It's a simple process. It will take a couple of hours per person probably to go through the complete set of steps, and you'll fill out a DS260 for yourself. And if you're married and you have children, you'll fill out a DS260 for each of them, your spouse and then your children. You'll have one DS260 per person. It'll all be part of an online application system, and you'll need a little bit of documentation in order to start that. After you've filled out the DS260, there'll be a period of waiting, but you'll also need to send certain documents to KCC. KCC, or the Kentucky Consular Center, are the central organization that process all of the applications for the DV lottery, and you send to them a set of documents which I'll give detail about. Again, I've got a complete detailed list of the documents that you're going to need to send, how you name the documents, how you send them, where you email them to, etc. So I will provide all of that information for you, as we go through. So you'll fill in your DS260, you'll send off your documents, and then there'll be a waiting period, which will be to process your documents, etc. And your DS260, but also to wait until your case number is available, right? Until it's your turn, essentially. And for some of you, for the very lowest cases, the earliest that anybody can be interviewed for DV 2021 is the 1st of October 2020, right? So there's several months to wait for even the lowest case number. And for the highest case numbers, or for the people who have to wait the longest, they will wait until September 2021, so a full year later. And so, within that period, you have no real control about when you're interviewed, other than to delay your own process if that's what you want to do for various reasons. And there may be some legitimate reasons why you might want to do that. And again, I'll discuss those with you. So hopefully you're getting the understanding that this isn't an overnight process. You mustn't rush it. There's no need to rush it. And it's much better to wait and go slowly to not make mistakes than to rush and make mistakes which you'll simply have to correct later. Okay, so that's another important point that I wanted to make sure you've got. You may be wondering about fees, by the way. There will be some fees. This is a free process to apply. What you've got to so far hasn't cost you a penny. Hopefully you've not been foolish enough to pay anybody for this, for your application. It was a free entry. You shouldn't have paid anybody. And so hopefully it hasn't cost you any money so far. As you apply, you will start to pay some fees. You'll pay a fee at the embassy, which is $330 US dollars per person. And you'll also pay medical fees. You'll need a medical exam, and you'll pay for that, which varies by country, but it can be reasonably expensive. It's an exam that has to be performed by one of the physicians at the embassy lists. So that'll have to be paid for. Then, if you're approved for your green card, you'll be given a temporary one-time use visa in your passport, and that allows entry into the USA, and upon entering the USA you become an LPR, but there is one more fee to pay, which is $220 per person. That's US dollars again, and that's the cost of the production of the green card itself. So that's generally the fees. For people who are adjusting status in the United States because they live in the United States but they won the lottery, the fees are slightly different, and I'll cover those separately. But for the vast majority of you, you'll be processing your cases outside of the USA in whatever country you live in now. Let's talk very quickly about some of the mistakes that you might be concerned about. There are a few mistakes that you might have made, and there's a couple of them that you should be looking at now. The region that you've been assigned to is based on the country that you've listed as your country of chargeability. For the vast majority of you, that should be your birth country. It has nothing to do with the country where you live now. It's to do with where you were born. And some people, even at this early stage, will find that they've ruined their own cases because they've put the wrong country down. And in some cases, those things can't be fixed, or in most cases, those things can't be fixed. If it crosses from one region to another, then that will be your opportunity gone. So, for example, each year, almost every year, I've had, for example, someone from Nepal somehow chose the country of Nauru, which I believe is in Oceania region, and so a Nepalese winner will find that they have a case number that starts 2021, and instead of AS for Asia region, it'll be OC. Well, that's wrong, and unless they have a legitimate reason to be registered to an Oceania region country, then their case is going to be disqualified. 100% certain that they will be disqualified later on. So there are some mistakes that you can't recover from, and the only way to move forward is by committing fraud, and I will not help you commit fraud. And so, you know, that's just not going to happen. I'm not going to help you at all commit any sort of fraud. There are some mistakes like that that you just can't recover from. And there are other mistakes, such as a simple, you know, you made a mistake in the way you spelt your name or something like that, or you made a slight mistake in the way you put in your birth date. Those mistakes can be dealt with, and so I have a video, and I'll be publishing more videos on how to deal with some of the most common mistakes. I have a blog. I maintain a blog which has a mountain of information, hundreds of articles that I've written over the years, and almost every question has been asked of me, I would say, you know, many times over and over. I myself was the recipient of a green card through the DV lottery process. My wife is Spanish, and even though I'm British, I was able to enter the lottery, and she actually won back in 2013 in the DV2021 process. So we've been here in the USA with a green card status since 2014. I was actually in the States anyway on an H1 visa, but it was a tremendous benefit and improvement in our security to be able to move to a green card, you know, from the visa that we were able to get. So so I've been through the process like you're going through the process, and since 2013 or 2014 I've been learning about and advising people on the DV lottery process, and I started my blog several years ago to help people go through the process because I recognized there was a need to do that. I don't charge any fees. I'm not a lawyer. You know, I have respect for lawyers, etc., but in large part, lawyers don't know much about this process, and there are some lawyers that would like to give the impression they know more than they do. But nevertheless, I don't believe the vast majority of you will not need a lawyer to go through this process. You just need to listen carefully to what I'm saying, and if you don't like how I put things, you can listen to other people. They'll be giving the same sort of information. But since since I went through the process, I know that I've helped many thousands of people to go through this process and change their lives, and I'm hopeful I can do the same for you. So you know, I'm looking forward to being able to do that. All right, so that's about all I wanted to say. Congratulations once again for your win. Please take some time to calm down, take a breath, enjoy the moment. But watch out very carefully for other information as it's going to come out. Make sure you subscribe to my channel on the YouTube channel, and head over to my blog as well and have a look around at the information there. There's a ton of information I have, and really there's no excuse to be underinformed in this process. I can help you with any aspect of it, apart from lying and apart from committing fraud. Okay, so all right, so call that a day. Thanks for listening, and good luck. Bye now.